Welcome back to the Meridian Pursuit Builders Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Sampley, and this is where we sit down with home builders, developers, real estate professionals, and industry leaders who are out there doing the work. You'll hear real conversations about markets, design, mistakes and lessons learned, and how builders can position themselves in a way that brings more customers to the table. Let's dive in.
Well, I am Brooke Coty. I am with Hawkins and Gray Design. I'm part owner. My business partner and I, Lindsay Hawkins, we are a team of 6 ladies, all with various design backgrounds and skill sets. But we help not only builders in the new construction, remodeling realms, but we also help just the local client that's wanting to refresh a living room or hey, I need some help with paint colors. So it's a wide range of who we can help and all sizes of projects.
Any particular style that you guys are locked into, or you kind of develop that depending on the client?
We do, there are designers out there that kind of lock into a certain aesthetic, but we really try to bring our client's vision to life. And that's where we've landed. And we help people who are very modern or very traditional. And sometimes our design aesthetic personally doesn't quite flow with that. And that's okay. It's just kind of getting out of that comfort zone. And I think that's why it's important to have a team that you can kind of bounce ideas off of because we all have different styles amongst the team as well. So get some insight when you're kind of stuck on that.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the process. A client comes to you. What does that process look like? And then is it different for a builder too?
It is different for a builder. If a client comes to us, just, they're a local person, we'll kind of have an introductory conversation, get to know what they're looking for, run through our rates and our timelines, and then start that process from there. Vision board is kind of the starting point. Lindsay always says, I can get you to the finish line, but I need a starting point.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm just going to pull ideas out of the air and hope you love them. Like we've got to have a starting point to know, all right, here's our direction. Here's the playbook for, so to speak, for this design.
We do the exact same things when we do a branding project. Is we need to know how you want to be perceived first. What is the feeling that you're wanting to accomplish? Because then you kind of build around that feeling or the
Yeah.
visual side of if you want it to feel cozy, then that affects the lighting, that affects the height of things, that the colors, all of that. But first,
Yes.
let's start with how do you want it to the overall feel, the vibe, which is a little high end sometimes. I don't really know how to articulate it. And then, like you
Mhm.
said, the mood board is so helpful to put
Yes.
a visualization out there.
Yes. I think so many times I hear, I need to see it. I need to visualize it because we can talk about ideas, but until we put a picture with it, sometimes it's like, oh, okay, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Are you using AI more and more just to help on the visualization side?
Some of the renderings, they are 3D renderings that some of the ladies do put together on the team. I don't personally do them, but yes, I would say the renderings is what we refer to them as. And so that you can get a visual of the space. It's extremely helpful.
Yeah. What are some of these trends to embrace that you're seeing? What are the ones to stay far, far away from?
Okay, that's a great question. We actually just put this out on our team group text last week. And I think 5, 10 years ago, it was very much farmhouse. It was very much a stark white and black contrast. So we're kind of moving away from that. And I think as people are looking to feel a little bit more collected, a little bit more, I went thrifting and I found an item that I love and I'm working it into my design now. So staying away from stark, harsh contrast, kind of moving away from minimalism. There was this whole movement of just like
Mhm.
cleaned off everywhere and a little bit more, little styled moments, little intentional moments throughout the home that feel really inviting and really nice. And moving away from gray and switching that up for warmer, I would say beige tones and warmer whites. And I and pattern on pattern, a lot of that. So when you get into the soft design side, on the construction side, we're seeing a lot more stone coming back.
I love natural stone.
Yeah, natural stone, pairing it with brick, and again, moving away from that bright white exterior and black windows. Yeah.
There is a lot of that. We're in North Florida, and there's still a lot of farmhouses being built with that exact same design.
Yeah.
There has a place for it, and if you love it, then great.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
probably the interior is what can change, which
Mhm.
kind of going into a renovation side. You're not locked into anything. If 5, 10 years down the road you want to switch stuff up, then that's your home.
Right, and that keeps us in business, so we love it.
Some of these builders I'm talking to, some are full custom, some are semi-custom. Some people are doing spec homes in addition to what they're doing in their custom home builds. Some are doing renovations just to pay payroll and keep their guys. Would you say are some of the most important design things to look like for someone that's building a spec home?
So definitely the kitchen. The kitchen, you hear that, that's where you'll get the most a buyer will get the most return for their money. If there's a great kitchen, a great entertaining space, outdoor space, and definitely the primary suite. I did hear an architect say just recently, like a lot of people go small on their primary suite, but you spend a lot of time there. You spend a lot of time in that space daily. So
Yeah.
make that what you want it to be, and that is inclusive of the bathroom and the closet spaces too. And I think definitely once you kind of hit that $1,000,000 price point, if you're building in that price point, the outdoor area and entertaining outdoors becomes a huge factor in whether or not a potential buyer may like it or dislike it. I think at that price point, they're looking for an outdoor fireplace or a gathering place or a pool or something of that nature.
Yeah. And then how do you tell me about how that relationship that you have with builders, what does that look like as far as when do you guys come on board? What does kind of that ideal scenario look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. And usually by the time a builder brings us a buyer, they are in contract with the builder. So that allows us to help several different builders and not just one because they've kind of formed that contract and they're now making the introduction to us. And we really enjoy being brought into that process just as soon as possible, really, even before plans are finalized, because a lot of times homeowners don't think through and they just can't see on paper what that actually will look like in real life, or they didn't think through, hey, this area may feel really tight. Did you think about that? Did you think about the kitchen has all the appliances? Maybe that it doesn't flow for you and how you use your space. So being brought in on plan phase, I think, is a huge factor. We like to spend some time getting that right.
So you guys are helping interpret these 2D plans a little bit sometimes and just helping give a good visualization of, hey, if you're in the kitchen and, here's kind of your workspace and you've got your dishwasher here and you open that, now you've kind of blocked yourself from the refrigerator, just kind of giving some
Yes.
insight as far as what all that looks like.
Yes. Because if you've never built a custom home before, you don't know what you're on paper. I mean, you might know some things, but you may not think through all of the aspects of
Yeah.
a plan.
And even these builders will tell me if it's a true custom home, this is the first time that this plan has ever been built too. So sometimes even the translation between the architect and the builder, sometimes there's a disconnect there too, to where, yeah,
Oh,
we all
yeah.
thought it looked great on paper. But
Yeah.
then once we were actually in here, it's like, oh yeah, we forgot that this is going to adjust the trusses that we have. So now we've got to adjust this some way. I was
That,
actually talking to a builder yesterday. It was a custom home, but he said it was part of a franchise. They've got like 30 plans that they build. So this was the first time that he was building this plan, but more than likely he would build this plan again. And
mhm.
he said there's already things that on a utility closet side to where I can save an extra so many square feet if I move the utility closet over here and I can hide the
Yeah.
duct line and things like that.
Yeah.
You can look a blueprint blue in the face, but
Yeah.
sometimes until
Yeah.
it's built, it doesn't really you can't really
Yeah.
be in that space.
Right. There's certainly an advantage of building a home for the second or third time that a plan, because I'm not doing that this time. And even on the second go round, you're like, I want to change that too,
Yeah.
making those tweaks for sure.
Now, how are you guys working with 'cause most of the time with these builders, they've got an allotment for what the client is choosing as far as their finishes. How are you helping guide these people from their vision board and the pictures they're pulling off of Pinterest or maybe they're AI generated, wherever they're pulling their inspiration from?
Right.
How are you translating that into, well, this is your budget and this is what we're trying to work within?
Right.
How are you helping choose those alternatives?
Yeah. We work with a range of budgets, and Sometimes there's a little bit more liberty to make some really nice selections and the vision board aligns with the budget, but sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes that is a difficult conversation, but we've asked clients, okay, is the budget more important? Is the vision more important? Or is your space more important? Like,
Mm,
can we have all of those things? Maybe, but maybe not. So we have to have some compromise. And usually, I would say clients are very open to getting a little bit creative, like, hey, I've seen this natural stone countertop and I love it. Well, that's double the budget and it's not going to work. So what about a quartz option or what about maybe a granite option that still can give you some beautiful movement, but it's not in that $100 per square foot price point?
yeah.
So just sometimes it's hand holding and sometimes it's going back to the drawing board and saying, hey, we've got to reselect. But I think the more that we do this, the more that we can kind of get that vision board up front and say, okay, I have some good ideas here and I have some thoughts on how we can keep it at a happy price point and not keep going back and say too high, too high.
Yeah. What does the communication look like when you've got a builder, you've got you guys? What does that look like as far as, who's bringing the news if something needs to be changed? Are you going back to the builder and checking with them first just to get, budgets?
We like to have our budgets prior to making any selections, really. So we've got kind of those allowances for tile, for flooring, for countertops. And we are taking our customer to the builder's preferred vendor at that point and having that conversation with them if there are overages or it's out of stock or we can't get it for 6 months and we need it yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
kind of relaying the majority of those conversations when it comes to the type of selections that we're kind of in charge of, so to speak.
How often are you guys communicating with the client?
Client communication, some clients and builders use our service to the full capacity. Others are like, hey, I'm going to bring you in when I have questions. If we have a client who's using us to the full capacity, that communication, I would say 2 to 3 times a week, especially as the project is ramping up and really getting out of the ground and in construction phase.
Let's go into kind of some of the big decisions that should be made before sheetrock. So in the framing side, builders, we're doing a walkthrough. Really, even though it's a little bit easier to visualize, still when things are framed, it's still a little hard you're not in these boxes. You're still a little abstract. So what are the real key things that you're focusing on to make sure that gets right before they're putting those boards on?
Yeah. Even before concrete is poured, we like to go ahead and have our appliances nailed down. So that's really one of the first design selections that we'll make is going to the appliances and getting those nailed down so the ice maker is going in the right spot. We've got water lines in the appropriate place. And then we're identifying whether we want a pot filler or not. Just thinking through all of those items and then plumbing any out of the wall faucets that we need a plumb for, where we want to land those things like as quickly as possible. And then moving into electrical, because a lot of the times the electrical plan just gets thrown out, I think,
Mm.
because we don't want 52 can lights in a room. We want to add sconces, we want to add chandeliers, different types of lighting. And if the electrical plan calls for something different, we've got to notate that pretty quickly.
Yeah, a builder was telling me, he said one thing that I changed that he said this has just been a game changer for me is he has his electrician go ahead and nail up the boxes and can lights before they run the wire. And then they do a they do a walkthrough just to make sure, okay, is this too much lighting where the switches are? And just so they get a good visual on it. He said, my electrician loves me because
Yeah.
now he's not having to re-pull wire or do any of that. He said it has really solved, even if it's just a couple changes, still
Yeah.
redoing any kind of wiring is just not that's
It's
not a
not
good place
fun.
to be.
Yeah, and the electrician and subcontractors are just like, it's a
Yeah,
happier relationship, we can just do it right the first time.
exactly. And they're always trying to do things that the trades will look back on and say, hey, thank you so much for kind of taking care of me when you need something, especially when these guys, for some of these people are working for the same trades for 15, 20
Yeah.
years. They view these builders as take care of me and I'll take care of you.
Oh, for sure, and that goes a long way, and, you kinda learn their working style too. You know what's gonna push their buttons, and you know what's gonna be, "Okay, he'll be okay with this." I think, having that in mind, that relationship goes a long way. And on the design side too, because we don't want to cause any rifts between the subs and the builder.
Yeah,
So it's very important to us. I think that we're kind of the good guy, so to speak, with our client. We're making the fun decisions,
right.
we're doing the fun stuff, and the builder sometimes has to have the hard job of pushing the timeline along or, whatever it might be, decision making. We always try to build up our builders. And we don't ever want to chunk anybody under the bus, so to speak. It's important that you speak the best of everyone involved.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how do you position that relationship just so that it is just some of these builds will go on for a year or 6, 7 months. It's a really long relationship time. Some romantic relationships don't even last that long. So it's when you bring so many people to the table, it's important that everyone feels valued and feels like, hey, it's the design team and the client that are just constantly hounding me to try to get this stuff done. Do they not realize what we're trying to do here? Are there other intentional things that you guys are doing with the different trades or with the builder just to build a good rapport early on?
I think just trying to be as clear as possible. And another saying that Lindsay has coined is clarity is kindness.
Hmm.
And the more clear that we can be, the more we can pull information out and make sure that we're saying exactly the same things, the better off we're going to be. And you got to get your groove too, because every builder is different. They all communicate differently. And you've got to learn their style. I know several they're in the field, they're not behind a desk checking their inbox every moment. So a phone call is typically easier. A quick text, don't get offended if it's just a simple yes, no answer. It's just they're in the field, they're moving, they're going, they need decisions to push along. So I think having the decision, being in front of the decision making process, so to speak, like having the documents as early as possible and not waiting until the last minute is something that we really try to strive to do. So timely decision making.
Is there anything that you're doing on site that helps that? Yeah, like
Clarity.
on a design side, like I've seen some people that they'll put up some sort of a printed something where a fireplace is going to go, just so that, as the electrician's there, he's got a good concept of what is actually going to be in this space if it's something a little unusual or something like that.
Yes, we do. Sometimes we'll put in the bathroom, here's the countertop, the whole countertop takeoff. Here's the edge style. Here's the profile. Here's the sink shape. Is it one hole, two hole out of the wall faucet? So putting that information on in the correct room. We've
Hmm.
done when there's a tricky paint takeoff. We've got every color paint going on a different wall. We'll put it on the wall or write in pencil on the wall with the builder's permission, of course. But putting those things up, just especially if it's not a cut and dry situation with selection there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what KPIs are you guys tracking for the success of a job? And what do you think that builders should be doing to maybe implement some of those same KPIs, but maybe something they don't normally think of just because they're not in your shoes? Just a metric to say like, hey, we started this project, we ended the job. Are there some things that we are making sure, hey, this was a success if these different things happen?
Yeah, I would say success happens when decisions are made on time. There's not a fire drill to be like, oh, we missed this and now we need a selection now. So keeping on top of the timeline, having clear communication really helps the overall experience for everyone. I'd have to think about some additional things. I'm sure they'll come to me.
A lot of people just say communication. They say it doesn't matter if it's good news, bad news, indifferent news. As long as you've got consistent communication, it is so much easier than to say, I haven't talked to this person for 30 days. They've been out of town or they're an out of country buyer or something like that. Now, the first time I'm talking to this person in a while, I've got to deliver bad news. And
Yeah.
it's in a much more challenging place to be than saying, yeah, I'm checking
Yeah.
in with these people 2 to 3 times a week. I'm sending them progress photos.
Right.
There's a consistent communication channel there. Everybody has said the same thing, is just communicate, 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 and everything. No matter what it is, it will just be a lot easier once you've got that good
For
rhythm in
sure.
place.
That's for sure. And I think some clients are able to communicate better than others. And you can definitely tell a difference in the way that the job flows when they can communicate. They can
Mhm.
be on site maybe once a week or just talk through a decision instead of trying to type it out. But communication is key. And I think sometimes, even when it's hard news, You got to say it. And you got, even
Yeah.
if it's a direct conversation, my husband will say, hey, sometimes I'm direct, but you're going to get the truth from me. And that's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. There was another builder that told me I didn't always make my clients happy, but I always did right by them.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good perspective to have, is that I'm gonna have these hard conversations. It may not make you happy that you can't have this product in, no fault of my own, just I'm gonna be the one to deliver this news, but we're gonna figure it out together. And having that kind of like we're together in this, it's us
Yeah.
against the build, and we're gonna solve this. This is a problem we're gonna solve because there's
Right.
so many decisions to make. And I think that lines up a good relationship for the build to say this isn't fragmented. This is all of us as a team, no matter who is on our team, the trades, the designer, the architect, the builder, all of us are going to accomplish this thing that we can be real happy with at the very end of the day.
Yeah. Starts well and ends well.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes on in between, but we got to start well and end well. And, one of the things I do, what I have started seeing on the build side is during framing, that's an exciting time because things are going up. The project is starting, and then we kind of get into it, and then drywall hits, and then the bills are stacking up, and the decisions are being made, and maybe a product's not available. Sometimes when I kind of felt maybe some tension arising, I would send that homeowner a gift card like, hey, here's a little night out from us. You two go and enjoy and just have a great night out. Just as a little thank you. Thank you for your patience because there's a lot of frustration that goes on with a custom build. Not always intentional. It's a decision making. It's an investment from a money standpoint and a time standpoint. And sometimes attention just gets a little high.
Yeah, not to even mention on the client side, they're internal. My wife and I have built 3 homes together, and
Yes.
it will try you.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, sometimes we feel like marriage counselors, we really do. We just somebody wants this, but that person doesn't want it, and we're having sidebar conversations like, "No, no, no, we're keeping this as a group conversation." And so we've experienced that for sure.
We're actually building a house right now. It's not a custom home, but it's kind of like a semi-custom. We have a couple options to choose from, and we didn't have a whole lot, but it was a 6-hour session where we went through the whole house and picked everything. I thought we were all 100% agreed on like what we wanted, but once you start getting into it, and you start choosing, here's all the color for the cabinets, and here's all the finishes, and it was just like, oh yeah, obviously this. And my wife's like, no, not obviously that.
Absolutely not.
I'm like, wait a second. So over the course of 6 hours, but it was really fun, and it's nice when you have someone organized. The lady that we worked with, she was like you said, she was kind of playing, guidance counselor as far as,
Mhm.
oh, that's a good. Let me just introduce a little thought here.
Yeah.
Fast forward 5 years down the road, and think about this side. I'm sure it can be kind of a fun experience too, just
Yeah.
working with. If you love people, just working with
Yeah,
those people and helping them. And
for sure.
ultimately seeing them at the end of the project with something that they're extremely happy with.
Yes, they're moved in happy and living what they've created. That's the happy
Yeah.
moment for sure. The selections can be done differently. It sounds like with you guys, you were kind of just able to nail them out in the
Mhm.
little over half a day, but sometimes it's several meetings and it's long days. And so Lindsay, she has the capacity to just keep going. And I'm like, hey, we got to build in some snack breaks. We got to build in I need a mental break. Like your customer may not be able to hang with you that long. And so splitting them up or even just breaking for lunch is just that's been beneficial too.
Do you guys have a place where you already have some of the stuff that they picked out, or are they picking stuff out in with you guys in that meeting?
So it's different for every customer, so to speak. We do have a studio in town here, and we have a lot of selections and samples. Kind of, if we've got a smaller home, it's a pool house or an in law suite, we can typically have all those selections there and we can knock out everything there. But usually we're going to the tile vendor and the flooring showroom and the light showroom. Lighting's tricky because you need to sometimes see how these are
Mhm.
actually looking when they're up in the air. So a lot of times it's beneficial to go and take the client to those meetings.
Let's switch gears a little bit to the marketing side, how people perceive you, what's important for this is across the board for anyone, not just builders. Just the importance of putting yourself out there so that someone that wants to work with you has familiarity around like who you are, what type of projects you work on, some of your style. What have you guys done? What do you focus on just to kind of keep that reputation moving forward?
Yeah, so I think at first when we social media is huge for us, Instagram, Facebook, kind of getting into TikTok. I don't really know much about it, but that's the way people get their information. And staying consistent and showing up there is a huge, we get a lot of, I would say, leads from social media. When we can showcase projects that we've done and say they actually did this project and they're seeing the finished picture and that we worked with a builder, maybe a local builder, and we've built that relationship. And I think there's some building trust and putting your face out there, which is difficult too. Lindsay's better at that than I am, and we would put our faces out there. We need to be seen. They want to see you. They want to learn about you
Yes.
as a person. And we live in a pretty close, I would say, tight knit community in Jackson County here, and building that because you're going to see people at the ballpark and the
Hmm.
restaurants and the grocery stores. Being that person who is trustworthy and honest is huge, but also you're able to do what you say you can do. We can design a home. We can help you remodel a home. We can help you refresh your space. We've got the capabilities to do so.
And that's where social media comes in with the social proof that portrays that and also communicates that. We're saying that we can do all this stuff, not just because we've listed it out on the website, but here's what we're actually working on. Here's
Yeah.
some of the challenges that we work through. Showing all aspects of it rather than just highlight reel after highlight reel. I think the word of the year, maybe this year or last year, I don't remember, was authenticity. People want more of that authentic feel, and that is just showing up and showing, talking to camera, because it is the person on the very end, on the other side of the screen. And that is kind of the virtual way of connecting with people. And I've heard a
Mhm.
lot of builders now say that Instagram, it being more the visual storytelling side of social media channels, they're getting these virtual referrals. Some people that have never even met them, they're seeing what they're putting out there. They're seeing the projects that they're working on and what they pay attention to. So they're getting people that refer to them from people that just follow them on social media and be like, hey, I know that you guys are in the Phoenix area. You guys look great. I'm going to go ahead and send work your way. They're like, we don't
Yeah.
even know this person.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So being consistent there is huge for sure. And spending and investing into, we're kind of looking to get into kind of the commercial realm of designing out spaces. And
Mm,
so we want to show up there as well and put some money towards marketing there. But that's kind of word of mouth. So if we build a positive relationship with others, you never know what that might lead to and who these folks are connected to.
who do you guys look for inspiration, things that, kind of pour into you guys that then inspire you on the day to day?
Yeah.
Their books or podcast or, other companies?
Yeah, definitely other companies, I think just on social media, what they're liking, what they're designing. It's fun to see that, all the different styles and our vendors too. Our vendors like will have us out. We got to visit the new here in Atlanta, the Sub-Zero showroom that just opened last fall. So it's great to see what's out there as far as boring as it sounds, refrigeration and cooking, but it's incredible. I mean, it's a high dollar decision that you're making. And so it's good to see their new technology. Tile suppliers too, they'll have new samples or, what they're getting in. And there's always the markets that we could go to as well. We've not yet done any big shows, but I think it would be beneficial and exciting at the same time. Again, I mentioned earlier, my husband is a builder and just everybody has their gift and their talent. And if you're driven towards that gift, you can really see that in a person and it's very honest and genuine and they love what they do.
Yeah. Tell me more about his building company. What are things that you've taken away that have helped you on
Yeah.
the design side?
He builds custom homes, and again, I do have a foot in that business too. So when my business partner Lindsay and I did meet, she first came to me to help the building company. And
Oh,
so
wow.
we got to work together in that capacity, just kind of building out a process. We kind of talked and we were like, there's a better way to do this. There's a process, there's things that can be put in place to minimize just confusion and frustration for the homeowner and the builder. That's how we kind of met. But anyway, that's when then we started. So bringing that over to the design side, okay, here's what we need first. And here's what the builder's really thinking. And living and knowing him, he doesn't care about the design board. He doesn't care about all the colors that are going in. He just wants to know it's the selection is there and everything is ready for me to just press go. But there's such a collaborative effort, I feel, that has to happen between builder and designer. And it goes so much better when the two can just kind of blend. And especially when you're trying to pull off an, I don't know, an intricate trim wall with tons of detail. And you've got to talk those through and work together. They really go hand in hand.
It makes it easier on the builder side too. Like you said, they're not wanting to have to think about this. And I would say even on a custom side, usually someone's dictating what they want and helping that decision making, just depending on how their construction or building company is. If they've got someone on their team that handles some of that. Like I said, a lot of these guys are also building spec homes. They're saying this was the first time I was having to choose everything. And I'm like, I don't know. I've never
Yeah.
thought about all of this side of it
Right.
before. When I'm having to see what fixture goes with this countertop and all of these other decisions, it's like, this is a little overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure. And no two specs are the same. We can't just have a copy and paste for every single spec. The home's different, the ceiling heights are different, the lighting
Right.
is different. Yeah, it's we do help in that realm as well. There's picking out spec packages and it's nice because there's no customer really involved, just the allowance is the customer, so to speak. And we're staying within that and maybe we're coming under. We've got to win.
Yeah. Well, tell me, what's the future look like for you guys fast forwarding 5, 10 years down the road?
Yeah, great question again. I think stepping into this year and kind of building out the commercial side of our business is something that Lindsay and I would love to begin see taking shape. We don't really know what that's going to look like. And as designers, we try to take on all that we can, but we've kind of learned over the past couple of years that our best client is the one that lets us be involved from start, from plans to pillows, is what we say.
I love it.
They they want us there for the plan phase, the build journey, and then we're working on getting all of the furniture and finishing touches in place. We would love to be able to offer that whole package to more and more of our clients and find those clients because it's not every price point that works, and that's fine. But when we can, it's very effective and it's some of our best work, honestly, because we're planning from the beginning for that sofa. And it sounds silly, but if it works in a room, it's going to make their room feel so much better.
Yeah. Well, how can people find more about you guys and learn more if they wanted to do work with you?
So we are online. We have Instagram as well. So if we go to our website, we've got a button where you can fill out just a quick connect and it will send an investment guide. And we have what does it look like working with Hawkins and Gray? What are the costs? What's the commitment, so to speak? So that's a great first
Awesome. Yeah.
step.
And this is hawkinsandgray.com.
Yes.
Wonderful. And we'll be sure to put it in the show notes and in the description below. Well, Brooke, thank you so much for this
Yeah.
conversation. I'm excited to follow along with
Thank
you,
you.
what you guys are doing and, see how you grow into the commercial space. It'll be exciting to see that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, that's a wrap for this conversation. If you know someone who should be on this podcast, send us an email at info@meridianpursuit.com and nominate them. We're always looking for great stories to share. And if you got something out of this episode, please leave us a quick review on the show. And if you're watching on YouTube, tap like and subscribe so we can share this with more people. I'm Jesse Sampley. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.